In part 2 of our ace pair flex scheme, we're going to take a look at a play that unfortunately is not in the Steelers playbook, which means that in order to take advantage of this formation as a full game scheme, we must use a custom playbook. And in a custom playbook, the formation we're going to use is called twin tight end chief. Now the play is called PAY drag wheel, and the only playbook that has this play is the pass balance book. I do love this play even just as a standalone pass play from the pass balance book. So my main setup for this play is putting X on a slant and RB on a whip. And the reason I like this setup most is because as we roll out to the right, our 3 targets cover every depth of the field. And with that being the case, everything rolling to one side, it's extremely hard to make a bad read. And a lot of the times we can just take off the quarterback, or we can just throw the ball away and live for another down. The next setup is X on the slant, and RB we just leave on his block and release route. I like to throw this in sometimes once my opponent starts putting extra zones towards the right sideline. And finally, we can just leave the play as is, giving us 2 deeper threats if we either need more yards or if we see 1 safety deep. My main target on this play is definitely the B receiver. For whatever reason, he is the one that is open the most and does the best job at beating pretty much any CPU coverage. For real, the only thing stopping us from hitting this receiver is a user defender. If they do cover him, then we still do have 3 more great options. Not to mention, we can take off with our quarterback if we roll out, or we can just click in the right analog stick and throw the ball out of bounds, which is actually something that I never do, but with this scheme being so effective and so easily mistake-free, that throwing the ball out of bounds isn't even really a big deal to me. Now, as you see in the gameplay footage, I don't always roll out, and the reason for that is because I didn't discover the setup of X on a slant and RB on a whip until later in the process, but I do 100% recommend using that as your main setup and rolling out. If you see the receiver open early though, there's no need to roll out. Just set your feet and throw a bullet pass. Now, speaking of setting your feet, and this is important, if you're rolling out, you don't need to worry about setting your feet. Every pass will be completely accurate even though you're rolling all the way out to one side. There's going to be times in the video that I do set my feet like you saw right there while rolling out, but that's only if there's no defender near me. If there is a defender bearing down on you, setting your feet is only going to result in getting hit while you're trying to throw the ball. I also suggest putting your best, fastest receiver at the number 1 position. Even when I only have 1 step on the defender, I've never seen someone successfully click on and get an interception. And finally, if you saw the video that I did on how to neutralize the blitz, that applies to this play. You don't have to roll out, just block your running back and sit back and relax. If you haven't seen that video, I'm going to put a link in the description. And now we're going to move on to all the other routes that are going to make this play such a great play for you guys to use. As you can see here on these next 2 plays, my opponent is really going to lock down on the B receiver. Leaving X on the post route is something that we can take advantage of in a big way if our opponent is locked in on the B receiver, but I still do recommend putting X on a slant. It's just much more effective with this play and what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Now, if you guys like what you're seeing and are new to my videos, don't forget to subscribe before you leave, because we do have a lot more stuff on this formation coming up. And speaking of, if you haven't seen the first play that I showed from this just the other day, I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out. And now that I'm looking at this play a little bit more here as we continue on with the gameplay footage, I'm sure you're wondering why I keep setting my feet after I just told you guys not to when rolling out with a defender bearing down on you. But that's just habit. I don't know, you know that saying, do as I say, not as I do? Well, yeah. So when it comes down to it, this scheme is all about over-effective routes, which you're going to learn more about as I reveal more plays. The play that I showed the other day along with this play just happen to be really great plays overall. But even here, the B receiver is that one route along with the play action that's really going to give our opponent a lot of trouble, especially considering the play from the other day is also a play action. Now the play action from the other day, the 3 main routes all go left. The play action I'm showing you now, the 3 main routes go to the right. Just that alone is really going to annoy our opponents. 1 false step in the wrong direction while using their defender, and our quarterback is faking the handoff to the running back, and we just might have a touchdown. That's not even taking into account the fact that they might need to make a play on our run game. You know, play action is just really effective this year. Even when it comes to blitzing, it's an absolute nightmare trying to sack the quarterback on a play action pass. The more we use this play, the less and less our opponent is going to call man defense. Not that it really matters, to be quite honest, but the tight end on the drag wheel is such a great route. Once I snap the ball, I'm going to look at him immediately and see if he's open, and if he is, I might hit him for a few yards. If not, I'm going to roll out and run the play like always. And so often, against zone defense, he's going to sneak in behind the defenders and be wide open, completely unnoticed, because every other player is on the right side of the field. I do have to say, though, this is a route where we do need to set our feet. Throwing crossbody on a rollout is definitely not a good idea, so keep that in mind. Also, if you like to get cute, rolling to the right, setting our feet, and then throwing a high bullet once the wheel cuts upfield is going to be the best way to click on and gain maximum control of the tight end for a user catch. Rolling out and just pressing the button, I found, usually ends in disaster, so throw a high bullet if you see one-on-one coverage. Also, if for whatever reason your opponent decides that he wants to get fancy and manually cover the drag wheel route, chances are it's not going to end well for him with the 3 routes all running to the right. As if this play wasn't tough enough to stop already, our opponent also has to worry about quarterbacks getting big chunks of yards by keeping it themselves. I'm not even sure that I would know how to stop this play. All 3 routes running at the perfect depth across the field, and then having to worry about the quarterback taking off. That's tough. You know, I never would have thought that ace pair chief would be driven so much by play action passing, but I do love the fact, and by the way, never do that from year to year, this formation is always different and always effective. It is unfortunate, though, that this play is not in the Pittsburgh Steelers playbook, allowing everyone to take advantage of everything as a whole. But custom playbooks, in my opinion, are a lot of fun. It's the only thing that I've used all year. So check it out. Try to, use the scheme as a whole if you can. Hopefully you do use a custom playbook. And if you happen to use the pass balance playbook, this is a great play that you can throw in on key downs. I would say for me, this would probably be my #1 third down play out of the pass balance playbook. Now that I've showed you guys 2 play action passes over the last few days, we need to look at the run game. Now, unfortunately, the run game out of this formation is not what it once was. In my opinion, it's good enough that it has to be respected, but it's certainly not dominant, which is weird considering how dominant the run game is as a whole in this year's game. Anyone that's ever used ace pair chief knows that halfback belly weak is the run play. And I'm sorry to say, but not this year, at least not for me. I find that the blocking sucks, the play sucks as a whole, and anytime I used it against a good opponent, just never got anything done. So, completely got rid of it. If you want to try it out, go ahead. I just don't like the play this year at all. The 2 run plays that I'm going to use when running this scheme are halfback zone weak and zone strong. And I'm also going to slide protect to the side of the run every time. So if I run left, I'm going to slide protect left. If I run right, then I'm going to slide protect right. Now you're going to notice also in this gameplay footage that I take these runs to the outside a lot. And the reason for that is not because of the fact that I slide protect to that side, even when I wasn't using slide protection. It's usually the outside that's open. Now with that said, you're still going to have to make good run reads. So this is zone blocking, and you should take it off tackle or up the middle. If the hole is there, just go wherever the play leads you. It's not always going to be to the outside. For me, I usually start the game off with 1 or 2 runs, just because I know I'm going to be passing a lot, so I like to start the game off with 1 or 2 runs, and then, especially because I'm in a heavy set of sorts, I've got 2 tight ends, and I'm tight on the middle. If I start running, they're going to think I'm going to be running. And then I'm going to move into the play action passing, which is where we're going to have the most of our success. We're going to want to use the run game here and there, just to keep our opponent honest. And because we still can pick up yards, it's not like the run game is dead or anything like that. It's solid, it's just not as effective as you would think it is. If you just pass all game, it's going to become easy for your opponent to play max coverage all game long, so we definitely want to run the ball. You can try the halfback stretch as well if you'd like. It's pretty decent, but I do prefer the 2 zone runs. So that's it for today, guys. I'm just going to let the gameplay footage run for a bit, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe.